influence how the international community approaches reconstruction, development, and economic cooperation in future conflicts around the world.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Nile article, and for the last part of the program we'll be shedding more light on the reconstruction efforts and the economics of this reconstruction effort for the Gaza Strip, and to be shedding more light on this important feat for the Palestinian citizens residing within the Gaza Strip. I'm honored to be having with me over Zoom is Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert. Dr. Ayman, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Nile article.
You're most welcome, sir.
Anytime. First of all, Dr. Ayman, I would like you to tell me more about the importance of the reconstruction efforts for the Gaza Strip, being one of the most challenging efforts in the past decade to be reconstructing anything over the globe.
Well, actually, the conflict in Gaza and the economic side of this conflict proves once again that economics and politics are two faces of the same coin. First of all, the United Nations, the World Bank and IMF and many other multilateral financial institutions made estimates for the required cost of reconstructing Gaza Strip, and the cost is between 70 to 75 billion US dollars. This includes 26 billion US dollars in the first 18 months, and they would be utilized in the reconstruction of the necessary infrastructure, houses, schools, hospitals, government buildings, and the like. Actually, the cost of reconstructing Gaza is not only this, but it also includes rehabilitating the Palestinian economy in Gaza Strip, rebuilding the economic ventures of the Palestinians, especially the small and medium-sized enterprises, putting the Palestinian economy on the road to growth, and creating job opportunities for the Palestinians, sustainable job opportunities.
Yes, Dr. Ayman.
The regional economy, other main regional powers like Egypt, Jordan, and the Gulf states.
Yes, Dr. Ayman, of course, we do know that the efforts of Egypt and the approach and the strategy of the country in terms of the economics of the reconstruction and the relief efforts for the Gaza Strip and the Palestinians living there is more about development and not just temporary relief. How do you see the importance of providing stability for the Palestinian citizens living within the Gaza Strip or in the Gaza Strip in terms of the humanitarian aid and the reconstruction efforts that will be going on in the future?
Well, actually, the stability, as you said, sir, is a key word, because international investors and donors, they would like to see an effective governance structure in Gaza. This governance structure would enable the Palestinians to best utilize the investment funds that would be put in the reconstruction of their homeland. The international investors and the financiers would like to see effective governance structure. They would like to see functioning judiciary, law enforcement, strong law enforcement on the ground. They would like to see effective government. They would like to see effective state budget for the Palestinian Authority in Gaza Strip. And at the heart of all these factors, we must have peace and stability in Gaza. And that's why I started by saying that this conflict once again proves that economics and politics are two faces of the same coin. Here, the issue here is that we have to create interest for all the regional powers to participate in such endeavor. Not only regional powers, but the all the world powers. And the previous few years, 5-6 years, showed undoubtedly that the Middle East is a very important region for the world stability, both on the political and the economic sides. If we're talking about the economic side, we've seen the tensions and the geopolitical conflict in the Middle East led to a worldwide energy crisis whereby the oil prices, Brent oil prices, increased during the culmination of the war in the month of March to $115 per barrel for Brent crude oil. And actually such hike threatened a global inflationary wave. Also we've seen electricity, for example, in Europe increased by 60% in June 2026 as compared to June 2025, and that was because the increasing prices of natural gas from $32 or 32 euros, per megawatt hour to before the war to 60 euros per megawatt hour. So, as I said, the Middle East is a pivotal region for the world stability on the political and economic sides, and that's why there are a lot of economic and political powers worldwide that are interested in maintaining peace and stability. And at the heart of this is, of course, solving the Palestinian cause, not only politically but economically. That's why the reconstruction of Gaza is an important issue on the world economic agenda. But as we said, we must attain peace and stability first, because it's prerequisite, and it's prerequisite for the confidence of the financial investors, the global investors, and the donors for this process.
Yes, Dr. Ayman, you've mentioned the peace, the stability, and the reconstruction efforts. Do you think it will be leading to the sustainable economic growth for the Palestinians and for the Palestinian state in general, and hopefully for the Gaza Strip residents?
Well, actually, we've seen even in Egypt that injecting funds in the construction of infrastructure leads to reviving the economy, leads to creating more jobs. The mere fact of injecting funds in an economy, especially in the construction or reconstruction of that economy, definitely leads to an economic growth. But the question here is that we have to be able to create sustainable opportunities, as you mentioned, as you rightly mentioned. We have to create sustainable opportunities for the Palestinian economy by enabling the Palestinians to revive, reconstruct their small and medium-sized enterprises, by increasing their entrepreneurship, and by integrating into the regional economic opportunities with, of course, regional economic powers like Jordan, Egypt, Iraq, and the Gulf states. Such integration, of course, demands peace and stability. Such integration demands a new atmosphere in the Middle East. And here I would recall what President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has said many times, that peace and stability are a prerequisite for the economic growth of the Middle East and the whole world.
Yes, as you mentioned, Dr. Ayman, that there will be several mechanisms for the Gaza Strip's recovery and the reconstruction efforts that we will be seeing in the months to come, hopefully after the conclusion of the second phase of the ceasefire agreement. In your opinion, what are the main mechanisms? Who will be the biggest contributors and supporters financially for the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip?
Well, we have a wide array of contributors to financing the reconstruction of Gaza Strip. Of course, sovereign entities, the main global world powers, as well as sovereign funds and multilateral financial institutions, of course, the biggest of which are the World Bank and the IMF, and also the International Financial Corporation. Also, the Palestinian public sector, although it was severely damaged by the war,
Yes.
but a big part of the reconstruction, especially in the phase of reviving the Palestinian economy, then we'll have to look for public-private partnerships. We have to look for partnerships between regional private sector and the Palestinian private sector, especially in areas where Palestinians traditionally used to have competitive advantage in, like textiles industries and ready-made garments. Also the region of Gaza, the Strip of Gaza, actually it has a lot of capabilities and capacities to improve tourism and develop tourism, especially beach tourism. But again, this depends on the reaching a sustainable peace accord that's based on the international resolutions of the UN and the Security Council, and that guarantees that the whole Palestinian cause would be solved in a sustainable way based on the two-state solution.
Yes, and speaking about the priority investments, Dr. Ayman, in your opinion, what are the main sectors that could be receiving such an investment as a priority in terms of housing, for example, healthcare, education? What are the priorities, in your opinion, that could be benefiting the Palestinian citizens there?
Well, as I told you, the cost is estimated by many multilateral financial institutions and by the UN to be between $70 to $75 billion. And the first 18 months would consume around $26 billion, and they would go to these priority sectors that you've just mentioned. Of course, rebuilding the infrastructure, the water networks, the water desalination plants, of course the sewage networks, power plants and power networks. Also building, of course, the houses that were demolished during the war, and the government buildings, schools and hospitals. So these necessary infrastructure projects, of course, would take the priority, and they are expected actually to create a lot of movement in the Palestinian economy, and to create a lot of jobs, and to create real opportunities that would really make everybody interested in continuing this reconstruction phase. The second phase, of course, will be geared towards reviving the Palestinian economy, reviving the small and medium-sized enterprises of the Palestinians, and encouraging the Palestinians to start their own businesses, encouraging them for pursuing entrepreneurship and exploiting the different economic opportunities, especially in integrating their economy with the regional economy, with the major regional powers like the Gulf states, like Egypt, like Jordan. The third state or the third phase, of course, would be integrating and stabilizing such Palestinian economy and achieving sustainable growth.
Yes.
But again, I have to reiterate that the first and foremost prerequisite such reconstruction process and achieving all these goals is reaching a sustainable and lasting peace.
Yes, Dr. Ayman, and speaking about the role of Egypt in terms of contributing to the long-term economic recovery and the reconstruction efforts for the Gaza Strip, how would you assess the role of Egypt in such a process?
Well, actually, Egypt has, of course, a lot of competitive advantages that allows her to become the leader of such process. Of course, historically, there are a lot of historical and cultural ties between Egypt and Palestine and the Palestinian cause. That's on one hand. On the other hand, of course, Egypt enjoys proximity to Gaza Strip and to the Palestinian territories, and such proximity allows relatively easy mobilization of the construction and contracting companies, the Egyptian contracting companies, to be mobilized easily to the Palestinian territories, whether in Gaza or in the West Bank. Also, Egypt has a very good experience in constructing infrastructure projects, and especially during the last 12 years, the Egyptian corporations managed to gain a lot of experience, and very good experience, and it was even witnessed even in the building of the dam of Tanzania, for example, and building many of the African projects of infrastructure. Also, the Egyptian companies, they have other competitive advantages. Of course, we have a cost advantage because with the depreciation of the Egyptian pound, our cost of production, they became more competitive compared to other countries and to other companies as well.
Yes, Dr. Ayman Ghoneim, the economic expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Nile article and Nile TV International. And this brings us to the end of the episode for tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.